Broadcasting stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All right, it's here. Game 6 tonight in Los Angeles. Can the Grizz stay alive? We talk about that in a minute. 3 quarterbacks taken in the first 4 picks in last night's big drama in Kansas City, the NFL draft. We talk about that in a second. I just want to say for just a little bit, I went to a really terrific dinner last night. J-Ma, I got a big question for you coming up here, so pay attention. If I were to say to you, throughout America, how many 4th graders out of 10, how many 4th graders, I guess that's 9-year-olds, in America, not Memphis, but in America, how many 4th graders read at a 4th grade level?
40%.
Well, you're close. It's 3 out of 10, 30%. That means 70% of 4th graders in America cannot read at the proper level. You can't read, you can't learn. You're behind the 8 ball. And so last night I went to a program. It was a fundraising program. It's called Coaching for Literacy. Now, you've heard of it. It's 10 years old now. It was the brainchild of John Wilfong, former Tiger, his son Jonathan, who played college basketball as a walk-on at SMU. Jonathan came up with this when he was 17 years old. Part of the inspiration was a guy that was his buddy in AAU basketball who went on to become a great football player. His name is Frank Herron. Frank is from Memphis. And Frank, now with the Carolina Panthers, won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago with New England when he was a rookie in one of Tom Brady's final years with the Patriots. He went to LSU on a full ride after he got help. They learned when they were young. They played in this, I think it was 10 years old. They played in this AAU basketball program. And Jonathan realized at some point, like at a restaurant when Frank could not read the menu, that they had to get him help. So he started going half hour a week to this special program that I believe the Wilfongs paid for. And this kid now is the Super Bowl champion, a moneymaker in the NFL, has a wife, I think 3 kids, great family, lives in Memphis, great story. All right? So over the last 10 years, they have now raised $1.5 million that all goes to all the different projects, reading projects. They got over 220 reading projects, one of those in Memphis, and there's 4 or 5 of them here because all the money raised in each game they have, and they last year had 55 basketball games that were listed as coaches fighting, or coaches for literacy, okay? Memphis had one. Memphis had one for 9 years. They're one of the longest programs to have a game each year. And I asked, do people give money at the arena? Basically, what happens is there is awareness from the game itself that people end up going online and giving money. So they've raised $1.5 million. It's all gone to each of the communities where they have a game. The money stays. So if you go online, and by the way, that number, that email address is coachingforliteracy.org/donate. So if you do that and it comes from Memphis, it stays in the Memphis area. One of the great programs that they have helped support is Ken Bennett's Streets Ministries. You know, I know Ken's a pretty good fundraiser, and he gets a lot of money to help basketball programs and things of that nature. But when it comes to the reading programs, he's being supported by Coaching for Literacy. And they're trying to make it even bigger. So 55 games last year in all kinds of different communities. In fact, 9 different states were represented at the dinner last night. So I'm urging you, because I was stunned. I've watched these games for 9 years. I've plugged it. I kind of understood the concept. I was always amazed that young 17-year-old Jonathan Wilfong had his own foundation. I mean, who does that at 17? So I was pretty impressed with all of that. But 7 out of 10 can't read at a 4th grade level when they get to that level at 9 years of age. You are behind the 8 ball immediately if you can't. So I don't very often ask for any kind of money for charity on this program because there are a million great causes. I give to several different causes. So I understand I'm not trying to put pressure on you. But this is a pretty stunning problem. And trying to keep people ahead in the game, just getting them even. The numbers of those that become successful if they are in 4th grade and can read as opposed to not is stunning. It's like 80% of those that can read at a 4th grade level go on to go to college. And then the rest, if you don't, you don't. So if you're interested in trying to give everybody, you don't have to give a lot of money. You got all kinds of different options. A monthly gift, you can give $1,000, you can give less than that, you can give up to $50,000 if you feel like it. Coachingforliteracy.org/donate. They had 3 kids that got up. Dallin Hayden, by the way, was one of them. He was still at Ohio State, but he gave a great speech on video. And they had a kid from Christian Brothers who's a baseball player. He's going to be a politician one day. He spoke. They had a middle school kid that was cute as could be who spoke. It really touched me last night. And so if you'd like to help somebody in this neck of the woods, this would be in the Memphis community, get a chance. Really, because if you can't read, you have no chance. And again, 7 out of 10 can't read at a 4th grade level when they get there. That's America. Wow. Then, again, coachingforliteracy.org/donate is the way to do it. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Don't forget the Vacation at Home sale. Pools have the lowest prices that you're going to find in town. And right now you get a free liner upgrade if you pool purchase in this sale. Now, you can get spas with $1,000 off if it's in stock, and they got a million of them. Patio furniture with the best showroom in town, and a play gym now under $2,000 during the Vacation at Home sale. Special financing available, and if you mention our station, Wolo, JMO, whoever you mention, that's got a connection. You're going to get half off on installation, and that's really important, especially for the play gyms. Always a pleasure to talk with my friend, the head coach of the University of Memphis football team. So do you get to go, whoo, spring's over, I get a break? Or are you worried about portal or something else? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, no, yeah, there's spring game ended, and now let's worry about the portal. It officially closes for undergrads Sunday at midnight. But it's college football. Welcome to its finest, right? There's always something going on.
I'll get back into that in just a little bit. So I've read many accounts of what happened Friday Night Stripes, and I like the way that you did it. You mixed it up where you had different guys on different teams. It wasn't ones versus twos. But one thing about that, particularly the offensive line, is you really can't see, or we can't, you have all spring long, what the heck you got. So I'm going to start with the offensive line because to me that's the biggest unknown, and it's truly one of the most important aspects because without a line, you don't have time to throw, and you certainly can't run, and I thought that affected your running game a year ago.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, we knew in the spring game you got a guy that's been maybe getting all the reps at starting left tackle going against the guy that's been getting reps with the third team at left guard. So we knew that there's going to be some of those issues up front during the spring game, but that's part of it. We wanted to just make it more competitive and also a team aspect type deal. But, I do think up front, both offense and defensive lines, we've improved our depth. Quite pleased with where we're at. Obviously, a lot of work to do before September, but I think we've made a conscious effort to kind of beef those up, and I was pleased with the growth, especially of the offensive line this spring.
All right, so give me a name I might not know from that O-line that you think will be a significant starter contributor as the year goes on.
There's a young man named McCollum Pounders
Oh, yeah.
who, got to play a little bit last year. Very athletic, did a lot of great things. Has really come on, a local, if you will, from Byhalia. And I think he's really took the next steps. Obviously, we'll see what he's capable of. He knows he's got a lot of work on, but really excited about his upside.
How was spring camp? Was this a good one for you? Second year now in a row where you had the same two coordinators?
Yeah, I think so. And, how you judge spring ball, first and foremost, every head coach will tell you this, is stay healthy. And then secondly, get better. Just get a little bit incrementally better. And I think, what happened is I told our staff, I just really want to focus on the basic fundamentals because there's going to continue to be roster turnover. There's going to be scheme changes based off of opponents. Let's really focus on the basic fundamentals. And I was quite pleased with it. And like I said all along, we've got a good group. With the way this transfer portal works, everyone always says, well, man, we had some talented rosters since I've been here. We've been very fortunate. And this is a talented one. So I'm not saying the cupboard's bare. I really like this group, but their mindset and their approach has been absolutely phenomenal, Wolo. I mean, they've approached every single day. How do we get better? How coach us more, give us more, challenge us more, hold them to a high standard, and they've been remarkable of trying to achieve every day.
I would say in your tenure that has truly been, as far as good citizens and guys that stay together with adversity, that has been a staple of your era. I don't remember too many bad apples. Everybody's going to have a guy quit the team, go to the transfer portal. Some of those you pushed. I get that. But as far as guys who have, like a brotherhood, stayed together, I would say that's been pretty darn close to 100% with your teams.
Very fortunate. And I give the young men that are in our program, the other people that are part of this whole thing, a lot of credit. And the players themselves, I think they realize this is a good situation. We've tried to build a great culture. Are we perfect? No. Are we doing everything perfect in society? No. But, we've had the highest graduation rate, right, in the conference for 3 straight years. Hopefully make it the 4th straight year. Our guys are staying out of trouble. They're doing it the right way. You're right. They persevered. They believed. Has it been easy? No. But we've also seen some things in college football that no other regime has ever seen. Going all the way back to COVID. So there hasn't been a common year. It's all ever changing. But I've been pleased the young men have the right approach, and that's what's been so much fun and a joy to be around.
All right, you mentioned yourself, the cupboard's not bare, that you've got talent. You took over a team that different times because the portal wasn't what it is. There was no NIL. In terms of sheer talent, where would you rate your level now with any other year in your tenure?
Well, look, as being the head coach, this is the most talented team we've had. So I will say that. I'm happy to say that. We've been fortunate. The days, right, we had 5 NFL running backs on run roster. I think that's close to near impossible anywhere in college football.
Right.
I think you ask Alabama, would you like to repeat what Memphis had in 2017 or 2018? They'd say, yeah. Where do we get those guys? So we've got talent, but I think what's happened is you look at it, right? I mean, everybody made, as they should. We lost our top 5 guys that led our team in receptions last year. And to the transfer portal and other reasons, and so. And I can just say this: it's not because they don't like Memphis. It's not because they don't like this program. I'm sure not everybody loves me, but it wasn't because of that. It's because of other opportunities, whether it be a financial gain or an opportunity to play more. That's where we're at. And so to be able to stack rosters and sit here and say, man, we've got the most talented roster in Memphis history, I'm not saying that, but we've got some good players, and I think some guys that will go out there and shine, and I think we'll be a little bit more explosive than we've been in the last few years.
Right, tell me about the one that everybody wants to know about. That's quarterback. You got a great guy. I'm sure there's no battle here. Seth Hennigan, his 3rd year, has been pretty darn good in those first 2 years. But I hear a lot of whispers about Tevin Carter, the guy that's a local kid that came in with a bunch of stars, and that his arm is like a rifle. How did he perform this spring? And then tell me about Seth.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's start with Tevin since that's where we left off. Tevin's been phenomenal. He's a smart young man. He's doing a great job in the classroom. He handles his business. He understands this offense now. You know, when you come in as a true freshman, you're just trying to learn. Okay, this is a different offense than what I had in high school. But he's done a fantastic job, and he cares. He loves it. He's a student of the game. He's learned from Seth. He takes notes. He's up here in the offices all the time. But you're right. You want to talk about rare arm strength. He's got it. And as he continues to work on his progressions and his reads, he's going to be a fantastic quarterback at the University of Memphis. And then Seth, continue to progress. I said this, I've been saying this all along. He's the only 2-year starter in college football that was 19 years old. So you go back to that, and he just turned 20. He's going on his 3rd year as a starter. And every year he continues to progress, right? First year learning the offense, second year now understanding what the coverages and all that mean with the schemes, and then now year 3. All right, I'm really going to put this offense in the right position to excel. And that's what's so remarkable is now he's taking those next steps, and he's still so young, if you will. You look at some of these, and I love Brady White. Brady White was a 24-year-old quarterback, and Seth just turned 20.
Right.
So, you see some of the comparisons, but Seth's done a great job. He continues to develop in the weight room. He's going to have a really, really nice year in year 3.
All right, you mentioned those 5 running backs like Gainwell and Henderson and Gibson, everybody.
Gibson and Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard. How could I forget Pollard? And then the guy that was the original starter is been on a scout team, and he got hurt.
Patrick. Well, that's why
Patrick
I tell you, Patrick Taylor.
Yeah,
Patrick Taylor beat all those guys, and I love.
I know it.
If Patrick didn't break his foot versus Ole Miss, I don't know how many of these guys. Look, they're all great. They're all great running backs, but it's just kind of funny. I mean, Antonio Gibson came here to Memphis as a wide receiver and really didn't get put to running back till game 4 of his senior year.
I know.
Y'all
almost made him a tight end. I remember that.
Don't tell me about that. Yeah, exactly right.
But you've got a kid you've been telling me about for a long time, Sutton Smith. Is it his time to step up? You got Duck. You got 2 transfers that are going to be in the mix, and let's not forget Brandon Thomas, who's been your number 1 guy, but injuries have plagued his career.
Yeah, look, Brandon is a young man that has started a lot of games for us, and he's taken the right mindset. He's got to get healthy and well, and he is. He had off-season surgery again, but he'll recover nicely and get thrown into the mix. And Jay Ducker has shown some really good things. Had his best off-season he's had. Was a little chipped up towards the end of spring. And then, we talk about Blake Watson, who was doing a great job and then also got hurt this spring. So the good news is most of these, knock on wood, these injuries, right, the guys should be back in time for, June, July, at least for training camp in August, to say the least. But we're excited about Blake. And then you talked about Sutton Smith, the young man that played as a true freshman for us, did a lot of great things. I think, what he's able to do, we can line him up at wide receiver. We can move him all over the field. He's smart. He's dynamic. You guys got to see a little bit of the explosiveness, if you will, Friday Night Stripes. So, we got high expectations for Sutton. He's excited. We know what he's capable of.
All right, defense. Let's go to the other side. Greg Rubin appears to be shifted over. As good a corner as he was, he's going to be even more naturally a top-notch safety. You got the kid from Arkansas. I think you've upgraded in the defensive backfield for sure.
Yeah, I think we added, some good depth. You look at what, Simeon Blair, think about this. We added a kid that started for 2 years at Arkansas. And that's the unique thing about the transfer portal. He found a better situation for him at Memphis. It's just a better fit for him. He kind of liked the way we were doing things around here. And 2-year starter and a captain at Arkansas, and then comes here, and he's going to have a lot of success for us in the secondary. But you're right. We added more depth. Looking forward to kind of see who we can all throw into the mix and see what happens.
How about linebackers? Canton Ark, who's going to have to step up because you've lost some talent there. Yeah,
there's no doubt. I mean, look, Zay Collins was obviously, we know how talented he was and what he was capable of doing. But, yeah, Canton Ark is the one that just his transformation, a young man that was in Canada and in Syracuse, and what he's been able to do, really in a year span here has been remarkable. I think we've got really, really high expectations of him, and I can't wait to watch him out there in the game field.
And up front, Cremonte Hamilton, who's the guy that will really step up, do you think, this year on defense and be a leader.
Yeah, Jalen Allen is a guy that's one of those that's done it well at a high level, and he is one of the leaders of our defense for sure. If not the leader, of our team. He cares. He's passionate. We expect him to get after the quarterback. Tremonte Hamilton, a local young man that transferred back from Ohio State. We got a lot of high expectations for him as well, and then we added a bunch of depth at the D tackle position, and that'll be fun to kind of see what those guys are capable of and see how much they improve.
All right. Quindell Johnson, will he keep the streak alive for Tigers getting drafted? How close is it going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he certainly deserves it, right? I mean, he's a young man that not only is he a fantastic player, he is one of the best young men I've ever been around, and not just in my coaching profession, my lifespan. He is just a remarkable human. He is smart. He is tough. Oh, by the way, he can play football in the NFL, and he, led the conference in interceptions, had 10 career receptions. He, this notion that, is he fast enough? Yes, he's fast enough. I clocked him at a 4.49 on my personal stopwatch at his pro day. So the dude can run. Yes, he'll get drafted. He certainly deserves to. And he's got a long NFL career ahead of him.
I'm crossing my fingers for him. I haven't asked you this. What do you think about the new league? The new teams coming in, no UCF, no Cincinnati, no Houston. These have all been rivals for the U of M. Texas San Antonio appears to be a pretty darn good football team. What are your thoughts about your new comp?
Yeah, I think what's happened is obviously I miss those rivalry games, right, versus UCF and Houston in Cincinnati, right? Those were some great battles, with my history here. But then you kind of look, and you mentioned UTSA. UTSA is a program that just built a $100 million football facility, right? Mm-hmm. Their head coach is the highest paid coach in the conference on a 10-year contract. Like, they are investing in football there. They are making sure that football is successful there. And you look at Tulane with what they're able to do. Sure. Obviously, they got it turned around last year, and they're investing in their football program. And then, SMU redoing their stadium, probably have one of the best NIL packages.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're paying $46,000 a guy at least. So
yeah. So I mean, it's not the it's so remarkable because having been here, right, when we first got here, Tulane and SMU were at the bottom, and Temple was at the top. And and look, Temple's still capable, right? We've had rough battles every time we go play there. We've seen what these teams can do. UAB has been dangerous, right? They've been a team that's gone to a lot of bowl games over the years. So it's interesting, right? And then don't forget, you still got to prepare for that triple option of Navy. So it's going to be, they're all going to be battles. That's college football. And I think the parity of this whole thing, right, with the transfer portal, all of a sudden you could line up, and if you were playing Team X, even if they're in a different division, there are Sun Belts. Well, they were only getting Sun Belt recruits. Now in the transfer portal, they can go get some SEC kids. They can go get some. And if a couple of them step up, that could be a difference in the game. So I think that's why you saw so many teams that are, we got higher expectations. Yes, and look, our expectations for us to go compete and win the conference championship. But it's one game at a time, and excited to continue to grow here.
Last thing, real quick, you've been a real realist about the portal. You said right before spring there's going to be a whole bunch of guys that are going to be gone. I'm not going to ask any specifics because that wouldn't be fair to anybody, but I will say, give me like a number that you think that will change on your roster from now to Sunday night when the portal closes.
I think we're at the point, hopefully, that it's about settled. There are some young men that have entered the portal over the last 48 hours, and I think sometimes, right, that makes sense. For them to maybe find the best situation for them, and I completely understand that. But I think at this point now it should settle, but you never know, right? This is when you're dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds, anything can happen. So.
Ryan, you're very kind to join us today. I know you had a good spring. Take a little deep breath. Go play a little bit of golf. I watched your swing at the Temple Israel Brotherhood thing that you had a chance to play in. You made good contact, but like left and right. So, you got something to work on.
Yeah, I've got a lot to work on with my golf game. So I'll probably just hang out. I'll just probably hang out in the office and watch more things. But I appreciate you having me on as always, Wolo. To all our fans, appreciate the support, and go Tigers.
Thank you so much. That is head football coach Ryan Silverfield on what was, as he said, a very productive spring. There's a few that have been in the portal. I haven't checked that out, so we'll have to go see who in the heck has indeed put themselves in the portal. I'm sitting, as I said, in the Family Leisure Studios, but a quick reminder to all of you. Our title sponsor is and always has been Homer Skelton Hyundai for a long, long time. And I want you to go and ask about the new deal. Ask Vinny Gerard. He's over the Genesis cars. And not all Hyundai dealerships are able to sell Genesis cars, but they are at Homer Skelton because Chris True runs such a great shop. And bottom line here, if you want a Genesis car, a G70, the small little rocket ship that is a sports car, the smaller sedan, if you go and say to Vinny, I want the new deal with the Genesis financing, they'll give you $1,000. A $1,000 rebate to do business with them. You can't beat Homer Skelton Hyundai. And it's time to reload. See my friend Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop. They've been around in East Memphis since 1969, 4848 Poplar and St. Nick, right down from Clark Tower. It's that little log cabin you've passed by forever because it's so convenient. Go in, get an education on spirits, and stock up for the Grizzlies tonight. There's no better, more friendly place and more perfectly located than the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. We take a quick timeout. When we come back, we go to Chicago. Our agent from Priority Sports is Andy Schiffman. We talk the Grizz, the Lakers, and the NBA with Andy in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Yes, it's that time again. Time for the annual spring sale at Wagon Save with unique products for your pups and cats, all your furry friends, and up to 70% off. Shop at WAG_N_Save.com. That's WAG_N_Save.com. Wagon Save offers fast 2-day delivery on most products. Shop fancy treats for your pets at WagonSave.com. That's WAG_N_Save.com.
All 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte PE 581,348, MSRP 21,690, Seltos P 745,838, MSRP 24,840, Soul P 7205,317, MSRP 22,250. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/30/23. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I'm ready to get on the road for better days ahead, and I know Kia's the way to go. What do you got over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
How about 2023 Kia Forte LXS 41 MPG $249 a month, $27.99 due at signing, or take your pick from these great SUVs. 2023 Seltos LX all-wheel drive, $29.99 due at signing, or a 2023 Kia Soul LX, $27.99 due at signing, only $269 a month, all 36-month lease.
Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
And if you don't see it, I'll order exactly what you're looking for. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, it's that time of golf again. That's right, we play a lot. You know who's not playing a whole lot? That would be the worst golfer in town. That would be Sheldon Rosengarten, who reminds you, if you want to sell your house quick, see him, because he's really good at that and really bad on the links because he's never got time to spend practicing. He's spending so much time selling houses and making money for his clients. That's the deal. And he's got that highly successful strategic marketing program that involves the P's, preparation and presentation, and it makes the difference in how much you might make and when. You want to get to that closing table fast. You call my guy, Sheldon, 483-0546, or you can go to memphisrelocate.com. It's really simple. He's so good, he says, talk to 2 or 3 people. Make sure he's one of them, and he'll sell your house. I promise. That strategy works. 483-0546, memphisrelocate.com. He's called Sheldon for a reason. To Chicago we go, and our agent from Priority Sports, that is Andy Schiffman, joins us now. Okay, Game 6, we know. Grizzlies were down 3-1, 95% of the time. The team up 3-1 wins. Grizzlies look pretty good. L.A. looked pretty tired in Game 5. What's going to happen tonight, Andy Schiffman, in Game 6?
Dave, good to talk with you. I think the Grizzlies will have a battle on their hands. I know they're going to leave it all out there. I would love to say I'm going to give the edge to Memphis. Obviously, I'm biased and want the Grizzlies to pull it out. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough on their home floor in L.A. I think mentally it's going to be challenging, but more challenging for the Grizzlies than the Lakers, because the Lakers really have no pressure on them. Worst case, they go back to Memphis for Game 7, where they've already won before. And look, you need Dylan Brooks to keep his cool and to knock down some shots. You need productivity, obviously, from guys outside of Ja. You need Jaren to stay out of foul trouble. And these are all things that are very easily done if you're the Grizzlies, and you have to defend and contain as much as you can contain a guy like Anthony Davis. Can't let Austin Reeves go off. They did a good job defending LeBron last game. So it's going to be a tough one. I think it's definitely a winnable game for Memphis, and we've seen this Grizzlies team with their backs against the wall in the past, and they've come emerge victorious. But I hate to say it, I think the Lakers are going to win tonight.
The line has gone up, by the way. The line's now 5.5. Here's an interesting stat. The Grizzlies, as a road underdog this year, are 0-17. 0-17. They've not won a game on the road when they were the underdog. They're going to have to win tonight. My key for them is to run the heck out of this team, because I thought they did look old. You mentioned Dylan Brooks. Give me your assessment of how much attraction there may be to Dylan Brooks for next season. I have a hard time believing he'll be in Memphis. Do you think there would be a lot of interest in him based on what we've seen in this postseason?
Based on what we've seen in the postseason, probably not, outside of the Grizzlies. About a month ago, I would have said it's a foregone conclusion the Grizzlies are going to do everything they can to try and retain Dylan. He's a free agent. I think he's their only free agent this offseason. But, look, his antics get under the skin of everybody. And I'm not talking about opposing players. I'm talking about internally within the Grizzlies. And you're really not backing it up with the way you've been shooting in these playoffs. I mean, just look at his last few games. 2 for 10 the other night in the win. Before that, the last 2 games combined 2 for 12. The first 2 games, 4 for 15. And so when you are that sort of personality and trying to irritate the opponents, you really have to do your part. And I hate to say it, but he's not. So I don't really know. I don't think he has a ton of value outside the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies can pay him more than any other team with the rules of the NBA, unless it's a team under the salary cap. I don't see a team under the salary cap paying Dylan probably what he thinks he's worth or what he's going to get. He just needs to, if he could just contain the personality and just go out there and do your job and let your game speak for itself, over time, his value goes up within the Grizzlies and with the other 29 NBA teams. And so far, he's unable to do that. So he's not helping himself in this postseason, Dave.
No, and you just said guys Because I've always had this sense that the team really likes him. And up till now, I didn't really think he was a selfish guy, but the way he's played and the way he's talked when I think he was told not to is a selfish thing. He wants that spotlight on him to be the heel. That has backfired on him. I find it hard to believe the Grizzlies would re-sign him if they can send him out.
I think they would try. I think they're going to try and re-sign him. I have to imagine, knowing their front office, it's probably going to be at a relatively low number. I'm not going to sit there and say they're going to lowball him, but I'm sure that Dylan and his management have a certain number in mind, and I am pretty positive that I don't think the Grizzlies are going to get to that number for the reasons we're talking about. And then it's up to Dylan to say, do I just go out there and see what else there is in the market, or do I understand the value of staying with Memphis and try and reach a deal? That's not for me to answer, but I think the two sides are going to be somewhat far apart once we get to July.
Do you think he even wants to stay here?
It's a good question. I do not know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. It's not. Look, like they're winning, even if they lose, right? Like, yes, they have. We can all say they underachieved if they get bounced in the first round to the Lakers. But big picture and the trajectory this team is on, Dave, they are winning, and he's a crucial part of that. And I think really you don't see a whole lot of these antics until the second half of the season, and it's just been amplified in the postseason. I think a lot of that has to do with the national stage you're on, the playoffs, the fact that you're playing the Lakers and LeBron. And yeah, I think there is a little bit of selfishness, like you said, that, hey, I can get my name out there by being this villain of all people against LeBron, which is not the right move. It's not the smart thing to do if you're trying to play winning basketball. And so I don't know if he wants to stay in Memphis or not. I'm not sure if the players would really cry if he left or miss him that much, or just say, hey, like, it is what it is. See you on the road. I'm not sure.
Here's my other thing. They've been 2 seeds the last 2 years. They've had home court advantage, which they've blown. Everybody said coming into postseason as we were approaching it, and they were solid as a number 2 seed, that it would be disappointing if they lost a first-round series. And this is a 7 seed, L.A. They've had their flaws. Now, they're playing great since the trade deadline when they made their moves.
Great. Yep.
But is this a disappointing year if they, again, bow out?
Look, I think it's disappointing, but like I said, on the overall trajectory, things are going well for the Grizzlies. They've retained the core of their players in terms of Ja, Jaren Jackson, obviously locking up my guy, Brandon Clark. I think Xavier Tillman, I think they should look to invest in him long term. He's been great. Great for them in the playoffs. But you need something else. I think going out and getting Luke Kennard has been a really good move for the Grizzlies. Losing Danny Green for that, you're really not giving up much.
Yeah.
But where do you go from here? You have to have other players to step up if you're going to have a guy like Steven Adams out long term or Brandon out long term. Santi's been great for them. Obviously, here and there in the playoffs, like we've seen, Xavier's been great. But you need to get another crucial piece, whether it's an assassin perimeter shooter, which I really don't think is a high priority for them after adding Kennard and still having Desmond Bain. I think you still maybe need one other piece up front. They got to figure something out because, it's disappointing, but I'm not ready to sit there and say, well, this season's a disaster, it's all for naught. Obviously, losing Steven Adams they take a big hit losing Adams. And you don't. I think people in Memphis, I don't think they realize how valuable Steven is to the team until he's not there.
Yeah, I think they get it. No, I truly do. I think they get that. And, whoever they add, in my mind, it needs to be a veteran because they've had too many immature guys on this team.
Yep, 100%. They're gonna have some tools in the draft. I think they're going to have 2 second-rounders, which we'll see what they do with those picks. They're going to have the 1 first-round pick. You can get a really good developmental player for the future where they're picking, unless you're going to pick in the top 5 or top 10, which they're not, unless they make a trade. They're not going to all of a sudden draft someone that's going to step up and make a huge impact. The Grizzlies historically, since Zach's been there, he's done a really good job of finding great talent that can come in and really help a team within their first 2 or 3 years. Late in the first round, you saw it with Xavier Tillman, you saw it with Desmond Bain, you saw it with Santi Aldama. It remains to be seen on Laravia, which I'm sure a lot of fans probably aren't too high on him.
Yeah, Laravia, Roddy Williams, those three,
Roddy, yep.
The last 2 years haven't exactly been the brilliance we've seen in the prior years under Zach. If we're being fair, I think the guy's great.
The one thing I'll say
wrong.
about Roddy is, look, like Roddy was a later first-round pick, and the jury's still out. This is his first year, obviously. I think Roddy's going to really help them. He's getting great experience now in the playoffs, playing in big games. So you talk about as a rookie in the NBA, right? No matter where you're picked, your first year, and really unless you're a top 5, top 10 pick, your first year you're just trying to find a way to impact at whatever level, whether it's developmentally in the G League or playing spot minutes here and there as a rookie. And then your second year you're going into the NBA, trying to just earn minutes and earn your coach's trust. And then kind of in that third year, you're putting it all together and hoping that you're going to be a rotational player. And they've done a good job of bringing guys like Santi along in that ilk. Obviously, Desmond has, I think, exceeded expectations on every level. And I think Roddy's right on the right track to do that.
Players ratified a new CBA, which means we're going to have peace in the NBA, and a very lucrative piece at that, all the way through 29-30. What, as a player's perspective, because that's who you rep, what do you like about the new CBA? What are you a little shaky about with the new CBA? I thought it was pretty well good for the players.
Overall, I think it definitely benefits the players, Dave. There's a lot that has improved financially. The salary cap is going to only increase. There's a cap smoothing mechanism where it prohibits the cap from going down.
Right.
I believe the max increase during the term of this CBA is 10% each year, which raises salaries across the board. There's a lot of nuances which benefit veteran players signing extensions. There's a lot of benefits to what are called mid-level players to go out there and get more money than they typically would. There's a lot of benefits for teams over the salary cap to have more money to sign players, to be more competitive. And I think I'm sure you are familiar with this, having read up on the new CBA and some of the bullet points. There's more restrictions on really high-spending teams like Golden State or the Clippers. Whether good or bad remains to be seen. The NBA is trying to curb that level of spending and penalize teams when they spend that much money,
right,
and benefit teams that really they're trying to help these small market teams. There's some things I don't really agree with or I'm not a huge fan of. They put this language now in the new CBA for second-round draft picks that instead of dipping into what's called your mid-level exception, if you are a team that is operating over the salary cap to sign your second-round pick, you can preserve that full amount, which is going to be over $10, $11 million now, and then have another exception if you're over the salary cap specifically set aside to sign a second-round pick. On my side of it, as the agent, I like to negotiate as a second-round pick. Our agency we've had a lot of success, Dave, in working deals with teams in the second round for players picked in the 30s or early 40s, what have you, to get more money than the minimum salary and to negotiate some sort of flexibility that would benefit a player on the back end of that contract. And now the NBA has kind of taken away that flexibility. They think it's a win because it preserves money for more veteran guys, but it almost kind of hurts younger guys. They've also added a third two-way to every roster. Every team
right.
usually has two two-ways. Now there's three, which definitely benefits young guys, but in that and of itself, that is ultimately going to squeeze out more kind of these minimum fringe veteran players, because now if you're an NBA team and you're looking to add a 15th player on your roster at a minimum, but then you can go out and spend a fraction of that to sign another young player to a two-way, every team is going to go that route. It saves them money. They get someone that's younger. And again, the 15th guy on the roster typically isn't playing that much anyway, so why not spend less and invest in the development of a young player? So, look, it's not a perfect system. There's obviously some concessions that the players made to get other things and vice versa that the league's made to win in other areas. I think overall it's a good deal for the players. Just not every single area is a win for the players.
He's our agent in Chicago, former Memphian Andy Schiffman from Priority Sports. Thank you, my friend. We'll know more about the playoffs when we talk next Friday.
Sounds good. And I heard you're going to be taking some putting lessons from my dad.
I should. His dad won the putting contest at the Temple Israel golf day. There were good golfers in that thing. I was very impressed. I truly was. You need to take some lessons from your dad is all I can say.
I need a lot. I need a lot more than putting lessons.
You too. Yeah, because you're always in a gym. I can hear you're in a gym right now.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.
That's Andy Schiffman, our agent. He's brought to you by Grind City. You know, they are taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City, that began as a dream, and it's a reality. Right on the river. If you have not seen their brewery just north of downtown, it's spectacular. Right on the river, you get a good view of the bridge, and it's great for outings, by the way. But there you go, try their products. It's fantastic. And they are always getting new products in. I love Tiger Tail. I love Poppy's Pilsner. Love it. They've got ales. They've got everything you could possibly want. And they got brand new branding. It's a new way that they are marketing their beer with this beautiful, concise, cool labeling. So you can get the new God Hopper, you can get the Lager, the Thaddeus. There's all kinds of wonderful stuff that you will absolutely love, including Belga. That's the wheat ale that they got going, Belgian style. It's all there for you, and it's Memphis. It's Grind City Brewing, available everywhere. And this portion of the show brought to you by the pros at Conway. Don't forget that $69 Super Saver tune-up, 16 points they tune up to make sure your system is efficient. It saves you money in the long run on your MLGW bill. It makes your system last longer, and it avoids all the costly breakdowns during the hottest months of the year, and they're coming. So keep your family cool all summer long by getting that $69 tune-up from Conway. Call 384-3511 or contact Conway at conwayservices.com. You get details, terms, and conditions. When we come back, we'll talk about what's going on with that Tiger basketball team. They lost Jonathan Lawson this week. What's the latest? Brian Dacus knows, and he is next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Inventory is arriving daily at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike, and we're ready to put you in a new ride today. Great things come in subcompact packages, like your new 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, buy for $18,245 or $299 a month. And take sporty to a whole new level in the 2023 Eclipse Cross Rally Art, with rally-inspired trim, $399 a month, or buy for $31,235. Or 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander, 7 seats, now $34,055, or just $499 a month. And you'll get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, G4 PHF 03721, MSRP 18745, Eclipse PC 037,627, MSRP 31735, Outlander PZ 12158, MSRP 34555, includes all rebates and incentives, 695 PF, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/30/23 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
During Spring Black Friday at the Home Depot, you can get Vigoro mulch at a new lower price of 3 bags for just $10. Planting a garden? Mulch helps soil retain moisture. Sprucing up your walkway? Mulch can help prevent weeds from creeping in. Potting some flowers for your porch? Liven up your planters with an accent of year-long color with red, brown, or black mulch. Hurry into the Home Depot to get Vigoro Premium Wood Mulch now, 3 bags for just $10. Offer valid in-store only, March 5th through May 17th. Color selection varies by store. Limit 60 bags per customer while supplies last.
We're right in the middle of spring and summer's knocking at the door. And what's that I hear? You don't have a pool? Well, Family Leisure's happy to solve that issue for you because they have the lowest prices on pools in town. Plus, you can get a free liner upgrade during this pool sale. Want a spa? All spas in stock are up to $1,000 off. You want a play gym for the kids? They're on sale for under $2,000, and you can get special financing on any of those deals. Now, when you go to Family Leisure and you pick out what you want, I want you to tell that friendly salesperson, I heard on the radio I can get half off my installation. And that's true. You mentioned you heard this ad on radio, and you can get half off any installation. Pools, spas, play gyms, any installation. Don't go another year without. Get to Family Leisure, get a great deal, and get half off installation when you mention this ad. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
A little bit earlier, we were talking with Ryan Silverfield about Seth Hennigan. Just got this word. Seth has been invited to the Manning Passing Academy this summer. I believe just the second Memphis quarterback ever to be invited. I believe that first one was Paxton Lynch, and, of course, he was taken in the first round. That's always a good sign. Congratulations to Seth Hennigan. Speaking of the Tigers, well, you listen to him every day from 3 to 6 on Sports Time, but he's with us to talk Tigers every Friday. That is Bryant Dacus. So, since we talked, Jonathan Lawson leaving, the kid, the backup point guard from Alabama, former 5-star, nothing's been talked about since he made his visit, and everybody's assuming he was coming. And that portal is closing on May the 11th, so the time is ticking. What's going on, Bryant?
Well, a lot's going on. Thanks for having me again, Dave. I want to start with Jonathan Lawson entering the transfer portal. I'll be honest, I wasn't completely shocked by that. I think I was more shocked just because of all the news since the end of the season sounding like he was going to stay, that
right.
After all that talk, that he ended up transferring, a month after the end of the season. But I think with what his playing time was last year and kind of the usage he had last year, and then with all the guys, all the guards Penny Hardaway's brought in this year, I wasn't super shocked with that. But then you get Jaden Bradley, a true point guard, on campus for an official visit. Things looked to go really well on that visit for him. And right after it's done, you hear a lot of rumors that in the next couple of days, he's going to commit. And we're still waiting. I know a lot of people, the kind of rumor is that it's NIL related is why he hasn't committed yet. But we know how the transfer portal works. And I think you want to hear news soon, because I think other teams are just continuing to work, because this is a SEC all freshman team guy. I mean, this was a guy that really played a role for that Alabama team that was number one for a good portion of last year.
Yeah. What's your gut feel on that? Do you think that Penny's going to get him in the long run?
I think so. I think I've heard a couple other teams are starting to make some moves on him, but I think after the official visit, I think he really liked it. I think they'll find a way to make it work if it is NIL related, and so I do think that Jaden Bradley will be a Tiger next year.
That is pretty critical. Give me some other guys, and let's face it. Bottom line here is the Tigers still need a big man. Mm-hmm. The only guy left is Chandler Lawson and maybe Malcolm Dandridge, and I guess the longer it takes to find a big guy or two, the most likely it's going to be Dandridge.
Yeah, and I think the Dandridge situation is interesting because nobody really knows if he's going to be back on the roster next year. The media asked Coach Hardaway about it last week, and he really didn't give an answer. He just kind of said, well, Malcolm's really worried on getting fully healthy, and that's kind of what he's been worried about all 4 years here. So there's really been no answer on Malcolm, but you kind of look around, and one name that I just keep seeing coming up is Musa Cisse, maybe a reunion with Musa. Everyone remembers his time here when he was a freshman and just was very young, didn't really grasp what Penny Hardaway wanted to do. There was a lot of mistakes. Everyone remembers all the jokes and jeering about his hands were bricks when he was here. But then he went over to Oklahoma State and put together a couple really solid years. Last year, about 7 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. I think that's something that Memphis could use next year. So I know Memphis has reached out to him. I don't know if Musa would want to come back to Memphis. But I think that's a guy you could look at down low for point guard if you can't get Jaden Bradley. I know Jalen Young from UCF just visited. Now, he is not the same type of player Jaden Bradley is. He was not a SEC all-freshman or a former 5-star recruit. He was the backup point guard for UCF last year. But everything I've heard, it sounds like his visit went really, really well. And I think he could commit. He could be a guy that gives you some depth in the point guard position. I don't know if you want to throw him out as your starting point guard, but I do think you'll probably get a commitment from Jalen Young.
All right, last thing. Yesterday, speculation that Rick Stansbury, the former Mississippi State and Western Kentucky head coach, would be the replacement for Frank Haith, who, of course, is going on to Texas. One, do you buy that that's going to happen? And two, if he comes, he had a big 7-footer who led the country in blocks last year that committed to Ole Miss. I don't know if he signed with Ole Miss. What would be the possibility of Stansbury bringing that kid? What's his name? Sharp?
Yeah, Jamarion Sharp. I think there's a chance there for sure. I like the idea of Rick Stansbury joining the staff. I know that was the rumor around yesterday. Nothing official yet, but I think if you get him, that definitely adds to your staff. I mean, this is a winning head coach at Mississippi State and Western Kentucky, so I think he adds a lot as an assistant coach. But then you talk about recruiting. I mean, I think everyone remembers what happened last year with Emmanuel Acott, was committed for a while to the University of Memphis, and then Rick Stansbury comes along and takes him away to Western Kentucky. Stole him away. So that could be exactly what happens with Jamarion Sharp. He hasn't signed. He's just committed to Ole Miss. So I think that's another guy you could definitely look at if you add Rick Stansbury to your bench.
Bryant, thank you much. I know you and Stats and JMO will all be around from 3 to 6 today. We'll be listening. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Thanks, Dave. Right back at you.
That's Bryant Dacus. He's brought to you by Eflin, the Eflin Insurance Team. Matt knows what he's doing. He's got a philosophy about how he protects you and your family. It's called collaboration. He gets to know you, sits down, finds out all about your family, what your needs are, what your budget is, and then he will protect you, whether it's your home, your auto, even life insurance. He's all over it. If you've got a small to mid-sized business, that is the Eflin Insurance Team specialty. They'll get to know you, your employees, your product. They'll forecast what your business might be like. What is your budget? And then they will protect you. I promise. All you got to do is make the call. They're big Tiger supporters, so in their number, they have GER. 901-386-GER, which is 4777. Just call and talk. Let them get to know you. Let them protect you the right way. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. We thank Ryan Silverfield, Bryant Dacus, Andy Schiffman. We'll do it again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Johnny Radio's next.
There are so many ways to buy